Hi everyone, welcome to Information Literacy, our summer course. I'm glad you're here and I'm anxious for us to get started. This is the overview video for Unit 1, and this is a good place to start so that you can figure out kind of where things are, and I'll give you some guidelines here to get us started. Each of the units in this course are organized in a similar fashion. So once you get the hang of this first one, you'll find it real easy to find what you need in each of the units. So to get started in the units, you'll see that there is a checklist that lists all the things that you'll be doing in that unit along with the due date. And then you'll also see there is an overview video that I've created that just talks through the assignments for that chapter. And then kind of like the one that I'm doing right now. And then in the next units, upcoming units, you'll see also a content video. And the content video is also one that I've created, and it's the kinds of things that I might say to you if we were sitting in class together. Since we don't get to do that in an online class, I've put it into a content video. So the content video has to do with the topic of that course. It gives you a little bit of extra information. So those are the three tools to use to get started. And like I said, each of the units are set up with that similar format. Now, you'll see when you go in to look at the units that there are, in some of the units, there's quite a pretty long list of resources. And don't panic when you see that and think, oh, I have all this stuff to do and I'm not going to be able to get it done. In many cases, I've offered you a choice. And so I've given you several options and you can choose from the ones that seem interesting to you. Also, in each of the units, I've given you a couple of different ways to gain information, some through reading and some through viewing. And I want you to have both of those options because I know each person is unique, and so it may be easier for you to gain information from one or the other. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't use the other resource. You definitely should. But you also can rely on other tools to get the information for the unit. So let me talk a little bit about this first unit as we get started. So you're watching the overview video, and it does have a little bit of the content. There's not so much content in this first unit, Unit 1, getting started. So there is not a separate content video for this unit. But in a Unit 1, you'll see the 4 assignments. And each of our units lasts a week. So this is a fast-paced class, and you have to keep going. The assignments most of them aren't very long. And there's only one kind of bigger assignment, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes. So I think of them more as kind of the littler assignments that go with the unit. None of it is really hard, although there might be one activity in this first unit that gives people a little bit of trouble. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But the activities, if you keep up with them, you'll do fine. You'll do very well in the class. But because it's a quick class, we're over July 2nd. Because it's a quick class, you do have to keep working. I'm the kind of person that likes to do a little bit each day, but maybe you'd rather sit down and spend a whole day and get a bunch of stuff done. I do have the class set up so that you can see ahead. So if you know you're going to be gone on a trip or a family reunion or a wedding or something and you want to work ahead, I strongly encourage you to do that. Okay, back to Unit 1. So there's 4 things you're going to do in Unit 1. First, I want you to introduce yourself, and I'd like you to add a photo or a video so we can get to know you better in a visual way. Also to write an introduction about yourself and then to respond to 4 other people in our class. I would ask you also to add a thumbnail image of yourself into Canvas. And that thumbnail image, then anytime you respond in the discussion board, we'll see your picture and we can start associating your picture with your name, and that helps us get to know each other better. Second activity is called Give It a Try. And in this activity, I'm going to ask you to think about the strategies that you use to look for information online. I think it's important that we're aware of what we do before we attempt to try to help students be effective. So there's 4 questions. You'll choose one. You'll just do a little online research, and then you'll write about the process that you used. Sorry about that message from my son, but I'm going to keep going. The process that you used as you did your online searching. Third activity is for you to read in our textbook, Reading the Web. You'll read the introduction, the first chapter and the second chapter, and there are a couple of things on the checklist for you to view. And then what I'd like you to do is kind of blend all that together. What you learned when you were reading, what you learned when you were reviewing, blend all that together into a summary of about 150 words, which is not very long. You'll post that online in the discussion board where it says summary, Unit 1 summary, and then you'll respond to 2 other people in our class for that assignment. Then the last assignment in Unit 1 is the one that I said earlier might give people a little bit of trouble. We are going to take on the topic of APA style. And I know that's not a favorite for some people. I know there's people that kind of cringe at that phrase. So my goal is to help you feel more comfortable with creating a bibliography and using citations in a paper. So that's all that we're going to focus on for APA style in this class. So I've created a tutorial video that walks you through what I want you to know how to do. And then I'm going to ask you to do a little activity where you write up the bibliography for some resources that I made available in our Canvas course. And then I'm going to give you lots of feedback so that I'm not just going to throw you in to do it on your own. I want to give you some structure and support to help you to be successful, because it is something that you have to know how to do as you move on in the program, and it is something you'll need for our one big assignment in this class. And so I'll talk about that right now. So for each unit, you have kind of these smaller tasks that I've just described. They're a little bit different each time, some discussions, some writing, some reading. But I am going to ask you to do an inquiry project, because this is a course that centers around the inquiry process. And your inquiry project is going to consist of a question that you design, something that's important to you. I've given some suggestions for possible topics, but you'll set out that question for something that matters to you. I've broken up the inquiry project into 5 parts. Now notice I'm using the word inquiry project. I don't like to use the word research project, because some people get all panicky like, oh, we have to do a research paper in this class. And the goal here is to break it up so that it's a manageable project. So part 1 is designing your question and a rationale for your question. Part 2 is creating a bibliography list of some of the resources you'll use in your project. Part 3 is where you actually write the paper, which is 4 to 6 pages long. So it's not a huge paper, but it is some substance. And you will be expected to use correct APA style for citations and your bibliography. And like I said, I'm going to teach you how to do that. Part 4 of the project, you'll take your paper and you'll turn it into a multimedia presentation using some kind of electronic tool. And then part 5 is you'll view someone else's presentation and give them feedback. So each of those parts comes every week or every other week of the course, and hopefully breaking it up into those smaller pieces and me giving you quick feedback so you know that you're on the right track, or if you need to fix something. Hopefully that will make the project seem more manageable for you as we move along. So that's enough to get us started. I'm really excited, looking forward to the class this semester. This is one of the favorite classes that I teach, and the reason is that my dissertation work for my doctorate was exploring the strategies that children use when they're reading online to answer questions. And so as you read in our textbook, you'll read about some of the things that I did in my dissertation and my work beyond that. I'm still working with teachers to explore how they're integrating inquiry into their teaching. Been interviewing some teachers, especially at the kindergarten, first grade level, to find out, well, what does this really look like for young learners? And so I'm excited about sharing that with you and having the chance to learn from you and talk with you about things that are important to me. Because I think that feedback is really important and communication is key to success in your class. I strongly encourage you to communicate with me. If you have questions or concerns, you're welcome to email me. I check my email several times a day. Or you're welcome to give me a phone call. My cell phone is in the syllabus. I'll give it to you again here. It's 785-608-5762, and I'm happy to talk to you on the phone during the day and the evening. I'm pretty much available for whatever you need and happy to help you. So please take advantage of that if you have any concerns that come up. Otherwise, I'm excited to get going, and welcome to class.